Hello, and welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Pet McDonald, and in this video, we'll be learning the 2 to 6 player game Titan Race, designed by Julian Elaine and published by FunForge and Passport Games Studios. The Titan Races of Neverworld are legendary events. Find yourself the fastest, fiercest, and most ferocious mount you can, and prepare yourself for a challenge. If you expect to win, you'll have to use the terrain to your advantage, while assaulting your opponents with a barrage of magical objects, as well as the power of your own Titan. So, join me at the table, and let's learn how to play. To set up, choose one of the 6 circuits found on these 3 double-sided boards, each representing one of the Titan's universes. Place the chosen circuit in the center of the table. These are trap tokens. Place them next to the game board. Each player now chooses a Titan, taking the matching Titan board, figure, and ability card. We're setting up for a 3-player game, so I'll return the rest to the box. Place the ability face up next to your Titan board, and your figure below the circuit. Now, take a lap token and place it on the 1 space of the lap counter at the bottom of your Titan board. Also, take a life token and place it heart side up on the highest space of your Titan's life gauge. These are the bonus cards. Shuffle and deal 1 to each player, placing the rest next to the game board, leaving enough space for a discard pile. You may look at your card, but don't show the other players. Lastly, take dice equal to the number of Titans in the game and place them next to the board, returning the remaining dice to the box. And that's the setup. In Titan Race, you'll be rushing across a circuit filled with special abilities, which you'll either seek to avoid or use to your own advantage. The first player to complete 3 laps is the winner. To get started, roll one of the dice until it shows a side matching the color of one of the player's Titans. That player goes first. They will now roll all of the dice which were put out during the setup and select one of them to use as their action for that turn, placing it here. After taking their action, the first player passes the remaining dice to the player on their left, without re-rolling them. This player now chooses one of the remaining dice that were rolled and does the same, selecting a starting space and taking the chosen action. This continues until a player has passed only 1 die. That last player, instead of being stuck with only this choice, takes all of the dice and re-rolls them, selecting their action from the new results and resolving it. They then pass the unused dice to their left. You then continue again, as before, with each player choosing and passing. In this way, the last player each round becomes the first player. It's important to note that during each player's first turn of the game, they cannot use the abilities of their Titans, nor any bonus cards. The referees don't appreciate fighting at the starting gate. Next, let's learn how movement on the circuit works. Each circuit is composed of 12 rows and 6 columns. During the race, you'll start at the bottom and always be trying to move forward in order to complete laps. The board itself is a continuous loop. If you exit the top of the board here, you'll arrive back at the bottom of the board in the same column, which counts as a lap, so you'll advance your lap counter by 1. While moving, you may also exit the side of the circuit. If you do, you'll re-enter the board on the other side, continuing to move in the same direction. In order to do this correctly, you check your coordinates on the map. For example, if I am on column A, row 7, and I move to the left off the board, I'll reappear on the other side of the board in the next highest row here, in column F, row 8. It's important to note that you can never move backwards during the race, except as a result of an ability or bonus card. If this happens, follow the same rules except moving in reverse. For example, if the blue Titan were pushed backwards to the right, he would end up here. If you are forced backwards at the bottom of the circuit, you will appear back at the top and reduce your lap counter by 1. There can never be more than 1 Titan on any space. If you enter a space containing another Titan, you push them and trigger a chain reaction, shoving them in the same direction until the movement ends. For example, if the red Titan were moving 2 spaces towards the yellow, he would push them forward along with him the entire way. It is possible to push multiple Titans with the same movement. For example, both of these Titans are to the left of the blue Titan. So if he were to move forward 1 to the left, both of these Titans would move forward 1 as well. And this one would be moved to the other side. If you are pushed during a chain reaction, you lose 1 health, regardless of how far you were pushed. The Titan that caused the pushing, however, does not lose any health. These electric bolt symbols represent bonus spaces. When you land on or cross over one, you collect a bonus card. However, you can only have at most 2 bonus cards at a time. So if you cross over a bonus space while already at your limit, you do not collect another. If the bonus deck is ever emptied, immediately shuffle the cards from the discard and form a new deck. We'll talk about how these cards work a bit later, but for now, let's learn about the actions. Choosing the yellow action means that you'll move 2 spaces straight forward. The blue action moves you 1 space forward and 1 space forward diagonally, but you can do these movements in any order you wish. Selecting the brown action means you'll be moving 3 spaces forward diagonally, either left or right, but this movement must all be in the same direction. Choosing the green action allows you to move 2 spaces diagonally forward in either direction, again, without changing direction in between. You will also deal 1 damage to a Titan in one of the 3 spaces directly before you. This attack can be done either before or after you complete the full movement. Many effects in the game, such as the green action, will refer to 3 different targeting areas: behind, before, and adjacent. Behind refers to the 3 spaces directly behind your Titan: here, here, and here. Before refers to these 3 spaces directly ahead of your Titan. And adjacent simply means any space which is attached to the space your Titan currently occupies. When selected, the red action moves you forward 1 space and allows you to drop a trap in one of the 3 spaces behind you. You can do this either before or after you make the movement. Traps are indicated by these tokens, which can only be placed on a space which does not already contain a trap. If a Titan, even your own, later steps on a space containing a trap, they lose 1 health and discard the trap token. You may even place a trap directly onto an opposing Titan, causing them to lose 1 life and discarding the trap token. It's important to note that any action you take which causes damage to a space will also destroy any trap there. The last action we need to look at is the pink action. When you take this die, you will use it as any one of the other 5 actions instead. Your Titan will lose 1 life for doing so, but you may choose to lose this life either before or after taking the action. When taking a die, if it matches your Titan's color, it regains 1 life, unless already at its maximum. It then resolves the action as usual. On their turn, a Titan must always take 1 of the die actions, but may also use their Titan's ability and/or play a bonus card. But you can never play more than 1 bonus card on your turn. Do note that some will indicate that they may be played on another Titan's turn. You may also choose to discard a bonus card, but this counts as using one, so you cannot also activate a different one during that same turn. Titan abilities, bonus cards, and die actions can be taken in any order you wish, but once chosen, each must be completed fully before moving on to a different one. For example, if I selected the green action, I could not move 1 space and then use my Titan ability and then move the final space. If your Titan's life gauge ever reaches 0, you've been KO'd. Flip your life token over to show the skull side and lay your figure down on the board. If you were knocked out during your turn while moving, you do not finish your movement and instead stop at the space where you lost your last life. After being KO'd, the next time it is your turn, choose a die as normal and then your turn ends immediately without taking any actions or using abilities. Instead, flip the skull token back to a heart to remind yourself that you've skipped your turn. When it comes back to your turn again, restore yourself to your starting health, stand your figure up, and continue your turn as normal. While knocked over, you are still an obstacle in the race. Other Titans can push you or target you with abilities, but you are immune to damage until you stand up again. It's even possible to be pushed over the finish line and win while unconscious. Each of the Titans has a unique ability which can turn the tide of the game in your favor. Let's take a look at those now. The green Titan, Grinder, can activate his ability to place a trap on an adjacent space or Titan. The blue Titan, Ragnarok, can move an adjacent Titan 1 space in any direction, including backwards, perhaps into a trap. While there is a Titan in any of the 3 spaces behind him, Rassic, the red Titan, can use his ability to advance 1 space forward, either straight or diagonally. The brown Titan, Kraken, is able to swap places with an adjacent Titan. Slog, the yellow Titan, can deal 1 damage to all 3 of the spaces before him, destroying traps and scorching Titans. And lastly, Chtooloo, the purple Titan, works a bit different in a few ways. First of all, Chtooloo has 6 hearts on his character board, but only begins the game with 4. He also only returns to 4 hearts when being revived from a KO. When Chtooloo chooses the pink die action, he uses it as any other action. but he doesn't take damage from it like the other Titans do. That being said, he also doesn't gain a life for choosing this action, which matches his color. Chtooloo's special ability allows him to inflict 1 damage to an adjacent Titan and then restore 1 life to himself. Even though he starts with 4 health, Chtooloo can have up to 6 health during the game by using his ability or the effect of bonus cards. Unfortunately for Chtooloo, he cannot use this ability if he's already at 6 health, if the target has no health to lose, or if the target cannot take damage for any reason. He also cannot use his ability on traps, as they are cold, lifeless hunks of steel. The 6 circuits in Titan Race each have a special effect. These are activated by landing on a unique symbol for each circuit. Let's take a look at these now. Caldera, the pools of doom, are ripe with bubbling magma. Any Titan bold enough to enter a space marked by a fire symbol loses 1 life, and any trap placed in lava is immediately destroyed. In Dead Man's Lagoon, the only thing more dangerous than the other Titans are the deadly pirates lying in wait. Anytime you enter a space marked with an exclamation, the pirates attack. You then choose to either discard one of your bonus cards or lose 1 life. Molten Chest, the Forbidden Foundry, features ramps which can catapult you over sections of the board. Anytime you move over a ramp while moving in the direction it faces, you skip forward a certain number of spaces, ignoring anything you jump over. These large super ramps face either to the left or right, and skip over 2 spaces when you move over them. So for example, if you were moving 2 spaces and started here, moving towards the ramp, you would first skip 2 spaces and land here. Then, continue moving 1 more space to complete your movement. These smaller multi-ramps skip only 1 space whenever you move over them, and function in all 3 forward directions. For example, if the yellow Titan were to move 1 space to the right, it would end up here. The ruins of Bangkok are filled with exploding fire statues. When a Titan moves onto a space with this red symbol, it triggers an explosion, which deals 1 damage to each space adjacent to the fire statue. However, laying a trap onto a fire statue does not activate that statue's effect. When traveling across the icy plains of Estengard, one must be careful where they step. Anytime you move onto a space containing this blue arrow symbol, you continue to slide until you reach a space which does not contain one of these symbols. This movement does not count against the amount of movement you have left, and you will continue to move normally after you finish sliding. The last circuit is Anglais, the eye of the unfathomable void of the deep one. The mighty energies emanating from the pentacle in the center can give you a chaotic burst of energy at a cost. If you end your turn on a space labeled with a question mark, you may choose to lose 1 life and re-roll your action die to perform an additional action. However, once you roll the die, you must take the action it provides. If your new action matches your Titan's color, you gain 1 life as usual. And if you roll the purple action this way, you still lose a life, but will be able to select any action you wish. If you end up on the pentacle again after this movement, you may choose to repeat the process. However, during any of these extra turns, you cannot use your Titan's ability or any bonus cards. When a player has completed the 3rd and final lap of the circuit, they place their lap token on the trophy space to show that they have won the game. When playing with 2 players, the game is played the same, except each player will control 2 Titans. Choose the order which your Titans will play, rotating evenly between the 2 players, and set those Titans action cards beside the board in the chosen order as a reminder. If playing with 4 or 6 players, you can choose to play as teams, with your entire team winning as soon as 1 Titan from that team crosses the finish line. Ensure that no teammates are sitting directly next to each other, but otherwise the game is played as normal. Another way you can play the game is called the Gland Slam. Instead of racing on 1 circuit, you will use 3, setting them up in a row like this. When you reach the end of 1 circuit, simply move on to the next, instead of looping back to the start. The first Titan to reach the end of the 3rd circuit is the winner. And that's everything you need to know to play Titan Race. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below, and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.